The Hidden Leaf village basked in the golden glow of twilight, its streets alive with the chatter of villagers returning home after a long day. Naruto Uzumaki, now the 7th Hokage, stood atop the Hokage monument, his orange jacket fluttering in the breeze as he surveyed the village he had sworn to protect. The weight of leadership rested heavily on his shoulders, but his determination never wavered. Behind him, Shikamaru Nara sighed, rubbing his temples. "You're supposed to be in your office, Naruto." "Paperwork doesn't sign itself," he muttered. Naruto grinned, scratching the back of his head. Yeah, I'll get to it. Just needed some air." But before Shikamaru could retort, a sudden chill swept through the air, the temperature dropping so sharply that their breaths fogged. The village below grew eerily silent, as if frozen in time. A dark mist coiled around the monument, thickening until it took the shape of a towering figure clad in tattered Hokage robes. The spectral visage of a long-dead leader materialized before them, his hollow eyes burning with malevolent chakra. Naruto's breath hitched. This was the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju, but twisted by some unseen force, his usual warmth replaced by a sinister aura. "Impossible," Shikamaru whispered, his analytical mind racing. Hashirama's ghostly voice echoed, distorted and grim. "Naruto Uzumaki. You are unworthy of this title." Naruto clenched his fists, his blue eyes hardening. "What's going on? Who's controlling you?" The ghost Hokage didn't answer. Instead, he raised a hand, and the ground beneath them erupted with gnarled tree roots, lashing out like serpents. Naruto reacted instantly, weaving hand signs with practiced speed. Wind style, gale palm. A torrent of wind sliced through the roots, but they regenerated instantly, slamming into him and sending him skidding back. Shikamaru ducked, shadows stretching from his feet as he attempted to ensnare the specter, but his techniques passed harmlessly through the ghostly form. "Physical attacks won't work," he shouted. Naruto gritted his teeth, channeling Kurama's chakra. Golden flames erupted around him, his pupils narrowing into slits as he entered his Nine Tails chakra mode. "If we can't hit him normally, then we'll have to overpower him." He lunged, a blazing fist aimed at Hashirama's chest. The ghost Hokage countered with a barrier of wooden spikes, but Naruto's sheer force shattered them, his fist connecting, only to phase through. Hashirama retaliated with a sudden palm strike, infused with eerie purple energy. The blow sent Naruto crashing into the cliffside, cracked spider webbing from the impact. Gasping, Naruto pushed himself up, wiping blood from his lip. This isn't just some ghost. It's using real chakra. Shikamaru's eyes widened in realization. A forbidden jutsu, someone's reanimated him with dark energy. Before they could strategize, Hashirama formed a familiar hand sign. Wood style, deep forest emergence. The earth trembled as colossal trees burst forth, their branches weaving into a monstrous dome around them. Naruto growled, forming a Rasengan in each hand. "I'm not backing down." He dashed forward, spiraling orbs of chakra shredding through the wooden onslaught, but for every tree destroyed, two more took its place. Shikamaru, meanwhile, had been analyzing the ghost's movements. "Naruto, his attacks are strongest when you're close, whatever's controlling him is reacting to your chakra." Naruto nodded, understanding dawning. "Then I'll have to hit him from a distance." He leapt high into the air, gathering nature energy as his pupils morphed into frog-like slits. Sage mode enhanced his senses, and he hurled a massive Rasen shuriken downward. The spinning disk of wind and chakra screamed through the air, detonating in a devastating explosion that vaporized half the forest. But as the smoke cleared, Hashirama stood unharmed, his form flickering like a mirage. "Foolish child. You cannot defeat the past," he intoned. Then, his body began to shift, his form elongating as dark markings spread across his spectral skin. The air itself seemed to scream as the ghost Hokage transformed, his limbs stretching unnaturally, his face contorting into a nightmarish mask. Naruto's heart pounded. This was no ordinary reanimation. This was something far worse. With a guttural roar, the corrupted Hashirama unleashed a wave of blackened chakra, the sheer force sending Naruto and Shikamaru tumbling. The village below trembled, windows shattering under the pressure. Naruto forced himself to his feet, his mind racing. If physical attacks weren't working, and his strongest techniques had no effect, what else could he do? Shikamaru, panting, met his gaze. "We need to find the source. This isn't just about fighting him, it's about breaking whatever's binding him here." Naruto's grip tightened. "Then let's end this." As the corrupted Hashirama advanced, his twisted form casting a shadow over the village, Naruto steeled himself. The battle had only just begun, and the fate of the hidden leaf hung in the balance. The air crackled with tension as Naruto Uzumaki stood his ground, His blue eyes locked onto the spectral figure looming before him, the ghost Hokage. The spirit's ethereal form flickered with an eerie glow, its cloak billowing as if stirred by an unseen wind. Around them, the battlefield lay in ruins, evidence of the brutal clash that had already unfolded. Naruto's fists clenched, his knuckles white, as he gritted his teeth. "I don't know who you are or why you're here, but I won't let you threaten the village," he shouted, his voice echoing across the shattered landscape. The ghost Hokage chuckled, a hollow sound that sent shivers down Naruto's spine. "Such fire, just like your predecessors," it mused, raising a hand. Dark energy coalesced into a swirling orb of chakra, crackling with malevolent power. Without warning, it launched the attack, a searing beam of energy tearing through the earth toward Naruto. Reacting instantly, Naruto crossed his arms, summoning a massive Rasengan in each palm. The two forces collided in a deafening explosion, sending shockwaves rippling outward. The ground beneath Naruto's feet buckled, but he held firm, his muscles straining as he pushed back against the onslaught. Sasuke Uchiha darted in from the side, his Sharingan blazing as he analyzed the ghost Hokage's movements. "Its attacks are predictable, but its chakra reserves are massive," he muttered, flipping through hand signs. Amaterasu. Black flames erupted around the specter, only to be absorbed harmlessly into its form. The ghost Hokage turned, its empty gaze locking onto Sasuke. "Foolish child," it intoned before vanishing in a blur. Sasuke barely had time to react before a spectral fist slammed into his ribs, sending him skidding across the battlefield. Naruto lunged forward, his body surging with Kurama's chakra as he entered his Nine Tails chakra mode. Golden flames enveloped him, his speed multiplying as he closed the distance in an instant. "Rasen Shuriken," he roared, hurling the spiraling disk of wind and chakra. The attack struck true, slicing through the ghost Hokage's form, but instead of dissipating, the spirit merely reformed, its laughter growing louder. "You cannot destroy what is already dead," it taunted. Frustration burned in Naruto's chest, but he refused to yield. Beside him, Sasuke wiped blood from his lip, his Rinnegan activating. "We need to hit it with everything at once," he said. "Combine our attacks." Naruto nodded, understanding flashing between them. They had fought side by side for years, their bond unbreakable. Together, they charged, Naruto weaving a massive tailed beast bomb while Sasuke's Susanoo formed around him, its colossal sword gleaming with lightning. The ghost Hokage raised both hands, summoning a barrier of dark energy. "Pathetic," it sneered, but then Sakura Haruno appeared from above, her fist encased in chakra-enhanced strength. With a battle cry, she shattered the barrier, creating an opening. Naruto and Sasuke struck as one, their combined assault engulfing the specter in a cataclysmic explosion. The force of the blast sent debris flying, the shockwave shaking the very foundations of the earth. For a moment, silence reigned. Then, from the smoke, the ghost Hokage emerged, its form flickering but still intact. "Impressive," it admitted, but not enough. Its body began to glow brighter, its power escalating to terrifying levels. The ground trembled as it prepared its final attack, a technique that threatened to obliterate everything. Naruto felt his breath catch, this was beyond anything they'd faced before. But then, a familiar voice echoed in his mind. "Believe in yourself, Naruto." It was Minato's voice, clear and strong. Naruto's eyes widened as he felt a surge of warmth, his father's chakra resonating within him. At the same time, Sasuke's Rinnegan pulsed, the Sage of Six Paths power awakening within him. They exchanged a glance, a silent agreement passing between them. This was it, their final stand. Naruto's chakra flared, his body radiating light as he entered a new form, his cloak shifting into a radiant, flame-like aura. Sasuke's Susanoo transformed, its wings spreading wide as it took on the visage of a divine warrior. Together, they unleashed their ultimate techniques, Naruto's Six Paths, Ultra Big Ball Rasen Shuriken and Sasuke's Indra's Arrow. The attacks fused mid-air, a blinding vortex of energy spiraling toward the ghost Hokage. The specter roared, meeting their assault with its own devastating blast. The collision was apocalyptic, a deafening roar splitting the sky as light consumed everything. Naruto gritted his teeth, pouring every ounce of his strength into the attack. He could feel his body straining, his muscles screaming in protest, but he refused to falter. Beside him, Sasuke's Sharingan bled, his vision blurring from the strain, yet he pushed forward. Then, silence. The light faded, revealing the ghost Hokage's form dissolving into motes of fading energy. Its mask cracked, revealing a face Naruto recognized, his own, but twisted with sorrow. "You've surpassed me," it whispered before vanishing into the wind. Exhausted, Naruto collapsed to his knees, his breath ragged. Sasuke staggered but remained standing, his gaze fixed on the spot where their enemy had been. Sakura rushed to their side, healing chakra already flaring at her fingertips. "You did it," she breathed. Naruto managed a tired grin. "We did it," he corrected, looking at his teammates. The battle was over, but the echoes of what they'd faced would linger. And as the sun rose over the battered battlefield, they knew one thing for certain: no matter what came next, they would face it together. The air crackled with residual chakra as Naruto skidded to a halt, his breath ragged, the Nine Tails cloak flickering like a dying flame. Before him loomed the spectral figure of the ghost Hokage, its ethereal form wreathed in shadows that pulsed with malevolent energy. The village lay in ruins around them, the aftermath of a battle that had pushed both combatants to their absolute limits. "This ends now," Naruto growled, his voice hoarse but resolute, his blue eyes burning with defiance. The ghost Hokage chuckled, a sound like grinding stone, its hollow gaze piercing through Naruto's soul. "You fight with the desperation of a man who knows he cannot win," it taunted, raising a hand as dark tendrils of chakra lashed outward, slicing through the air like blades. Naruto barely dodged, rolling to the side as the ground where he'd stood exploded into rubble. His muscles screamed in protest, every movement sent waves of agony through his battered body, but he couldn't afford to stop. Not when the fate of the hidden leaf hung in the balance. Sasuke appeared in a blur of motion, his Sharingan spinning wildly as he intercepted another barrage of attacks, his sword clashing against the ghostly energy. "You're slowing down, loser," he muttered, though his own breath came in sharp gasps. Naruto grinned despite the pain. "Speak for yourself, bastard." Together, they lunged, a synchronized whirlwind of fists and steel, their combined assault forcing the ghost Hokage back. But the specter only laughed, its form dissolving into mist before reforming behind them. A crushing blow sent Sasuke sprawling, blood spraying from his lips, while Naruto barely managed to block with a Rasengan, the force of the collision sending shockwaves through the battlefield. Naruto's mind raced. They couldn't keep this up, their chakra was nearly depleted, their bodies pushed beyond endurance. But then, a voice echoed in his mind, not Kurama's, but his own, from a lifetime ago. "I'll never give up." The words ignited something deep inside him, a spark of determination that flared into an inferno. With a roar, he channeled every last ounce of his strength, his Rasengan expanding violently, infused with the raw power of his will. The ghost Hokage's eyes widened as the attack connected, its form shuddering under the impact. Yet it wasn't enough. The specter resisted, its darkness writhing against the light of Naruto's resolve. Just as despair threatened to take hold, Sasuke's hand clamped onto Naruto's shoulder, his Rinnegan blazing. "Idiot," he hissed, "you're not doing this alone." Their chakra intertwined, a fusion of Uzumaki and Uchiha power, and in that instant, the Rasengan transformed, a swirling vortex of blue and purple, a technique born of their unbreakable bond. The ghost Hokage let out a final, ear-splitting shriek as the combined force obliterated its form, the darkness scattering like embers in the wind. Silence fell. The battlefield was still, save for the labored breathing of the two warriors. Naruto collapsed to his knees, his body spent, but his heart lighter than it had been in years. Sasuke slumped beside him, his pride momentarily forgotten as he allowed himself a small, exhausted smirk. "Took you long enough," he muttered. Naruto laughed weakly, wiping blood from his lip. "Yeah, well. We did it." The aftermath was profound. The village, though damaged, stood united in the wake of their victory. The ghost Hokage's defeat had severed the lingering curse that had haunted the hidden leaf for generations, freeing the future from its shadow. Naruto and Sasuke, once rivals, now stood as symbols of what could be achieved through trust and perseverance. Their battle had not only saved their home but reshaped the very fabric of their world, proving that even the darkest of legacies could be overcome. As the sun rose over the rebuilt village, casting golden light over the scars of battle, Naruto felt a deep sense of peace. The road ahead was long, but for the first time, it felt unburdened by the ghosts of the past. And that, he realized, was the greatest victory of all.